Cyrus Gold, born Monday, January 12, 1852, to Elijah and Marlene Gold. He was then christened on Tuesday, January 13, 1852, in St. Caldwell's Church. Cyrus was a bigger child and was frequently mocked for his weight. He would physically lash out at his aggressors in an attempt to stop the teasing. Those who challenged Cyrus usually lost due to the sheer force the young man displayed towards his tormentors. Due to the many altercations, Cyrus was dismissed from school before ever learning to read or write. His parents were frustrated with him for this and told him he needed a job if he was not going to attend school. He found a job at the Cavendish Textile Factory. While working one day at the Cavendish Textile Factory in the lower section of Gotham, Cyrus caught sight of the owner's daughter, Tabitha, falling for her at first sight. After finally gaining the courage to ask her out, and the two courting for some time, Cyrus Gold married Tabitha Cavendish on Wednesday, March 13, 1872. It was unusual for a wedding to occur on a weekday, but it was one of the few dates that worked well for the couple. Despite his troubled upbringing, Cyrus and Tabitha built a pleasant life together for 6 years. That is, until one night. Having had many drinks after work, Cyrus got into a brawl with another man. Cyrus thought that the man had cheated him in a card game. This fight occurred outside a local bar, the Lucky Deck. The two traded many blows, and eventually, Cyrus landed the final one. He had intended to put a stop to the fight, but his intention did not matter when he realized he had struck too viciously. The man he had been fighting lay dead on the ground. This happened on May 23, 1878. Cyrus, horrified at his actions, fled the scene as quickly as he could. He seemingly escaped without anyone recognizing him as the killer. The fact that the fight had happened outside the bar gave him some anonymity. This went according to plan until Friday, September 21, 1888. When Cyrus received a letter. The letter revealed that the bartender of the Lucky Deck knew he had killed a man. The bartender, Huxley, knew Cyrus by name and said he would turn him over to the authorities unless Cyrus paid him. Huxley required Cyrus to deliver these financial payments to Slaughter Swamp. Cyrus begrudgingly agreed. He did not want his wife or anyone else to find out about this incident. At first, Cyrus managed to keep his promise and delivered payments on time, but soon Tabitha began to wonder where all their money was going. She chastised Cyrus for spending their money so freely on gambling and liquor. Cyrus didn't care much for working normal jobs, as his distrust for people only grew stronger during his extortion by Huxley. Cyrus began committing robberies to keep the bartender off his back. Cyrus would break into homes and businesses of the wealthy at night. But soon, even that wasn't enough to satisfy Huxley. In a final desperate attempt to ward the bartender off, Cyrus attempted to rob Gotham National Bank in the fall of 1889. Due to overwhelming police presence at the bank, Gold was captured, arrested, and sentenced to Blackgate Penitentiary. The papers said he did it out of greed, but no one was wiser to the true reason Cyrus needed the money. In Blackgate, a bitter Cyrus had to fend for himself. His larger size aided him in this regard. After fighting off several other prisoners, he earned himself a degree of respect, ultimately becoming the leader of the prison gangs. When Bruce Wayne was sentenced to Blackgate for the crimes of Jack the Ripper, the two had several run-ins. Cyrus, hardened by his prison experience, saw Bruce Wayne as fresh meat. Bruce merely wanted to survive. One night, Bruce started a fight with Cyrus that he used to escape. In early 1892, another riot was caused when Cyrus escaped by killing a guard and stealing his keys, using them to free himself and others. Cyrus went home to his wife, who was shocked to see him. She told him to get out and never come back. He had left her to fend for herself and broken her heart with his arrest. Cyrus moved to a home on the outskirts of Gotham to avoid being taken back into custody. Cyrus was in his new home less than a week when new letters revealed that Huxley wanted payments to continue. Huxley threatened to send enforcers if he did not make the payments. On Saturday, October 29, 1892, Gold met Huxley in Slaughter Swamp to make a usual payment. Gold finally became fed up and, in a rage, attacked Huxley, who got a hold of a shovel and beat Cyrus seemingly to death with it. Now it was Huxley's turn to panic. Extortion had now turned into murder, which was not what he had planned. On Sunday, October 30th, 1892, he took Cyrus's body to a portion of the swamp where several industrial plants let their waste drain, polluting the water and making it toxic to anything living. With that, Huxley left Cyrus for dead, assuming no one would come looking for him. No one did. Tabitha grew briefly worried upon being unable to locate him, but she assumed he had either been killed or locked up again. However, Cyrus had indeed survived and was slowly recovering. On Monday, October 30th, 1893, several teenagers passed through Slaughter Swamp for fun on Halloween to scare each other. After a year in the swamp, Cyrus's mind had been ravaged by the extensive brain damage caused by isolation and his gruesome beating. He had become like a mindless zombie focusing only on the primal instinct to survive. Stalking the swamps, Cyrus barely resembled the man he once was. His extensive time in the dark swamp left his skin a sickly pale color, his hair graying, and his eyes bloodshot. He was already a large man, and this new countenance gave him a ghastly appearance. Due to the trauma done to his brain by the shovel, Cyrus could remember nothing about his near-death experience, or how he had come to be in the swamp, or even in Gotham for that matter. When the children asked Cyrus about himself, he could only recall being born on a Monday. The kids began to laugh and jokingly refer to the man as Solomon Grundy, referring to the old poem. Finding the mocking laughter of the children enraging, Cyrus tore them apart. But unfortunately, with no name and no memory, Cyrus now knew himself only as Solomon Grundy. He fled into the swamp in fear when he realized what he had done to the children. In a cruel twist of fate, Gold had become similar to the literary character. He lived a short life as Cyrus Gold, which was troubled and ended in treachery, and then was born as Solomon Grundy, a name which, unlike Cyrus Gold, would be remembered for years after in Gotham City. After the discovery of the bodies of the children in the swamp, the police scanned the area and found no trace of the killer. The Gotham police were forced to chalk it up to a wild animal attack without further evidence. When hunters in the area began being discovered in similar mangled fashion to the children, the police turned to the Batman, who began to study the swamps and marshes. There was something singular about this killer, as he seemed to act out of pure, unbridled rage, with no calculation. The Batman's search would continue, but there would be little record of Grundy, until he re-emerged later in a dark and haunting plot created by one of the deadliest criminal masterminds in Gotham's history.